Next, relations between China and the EU have been a little strained recently, with Brussels uneasy about what it sees as a tacit support by Beijing for Russia's war in Ukraine. So there's extra scrutiny on President Xi Jinping's first visit to Europe for 5 years. First big event for the cameras here, meeting France's President Macron at the Elysee Palace in Paris. They were later joined at the table by the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Now, Ursula von der Leyen said that the European Union counts on China to lean on Russia to end its war on Ukraine. She gave a statement following talks there with President Xi Jinping. She also said she was confident China will de-escalate Russia nuclear threats. Well, our correspondent, Hugh Schofield, was at the Elysee Palace as Xi Jinping arrived.
The Europeans are, in a way, increasingly aligned with the United States on China. I mean, the United States has accused the Europeans for a long time now of being too soft on China, or not waking up to the reality of the new China. And arguably, that's exactly what the Europeans are doing. And certainly Macron last week, in his speech and in his Economist interview, was quite blatantly concerned about the rise of China and about Europe's naivety and unwillingness to see China, the new China, for what it was. So there is, in a way, the possibility of an American-European alignment here. And I think what President Xi's trying to do is break that, and he's doing it with traditional Chinese diplomatic manners, coming here being very, very fulsome in his praise for France and its historical importance and its grandeur and the role of Charles de Gaulle in recognizing China back in 1964 and all of this. This is the way they talk to the French, flattering France's sense of its own destiny. It talks to Germany in a rather different way. To the Germans, China talks as a purely commercial partner and promises all sorts of commercial deals if it toes the line and for example, blocks the European investigations into dumping practices and so on. So the Chinese interest, quite clearly, that this is the big picture, is to split the Europeans from each other and from Europe, and that's what's going on here.
Let's speak now to Professor Kerry Brown, Director of the Lao China Institute at King's College London. Thank you very much for coming on the programme.
Thank you.
So a fascinating visit this. Lots will be read on what happens, what doesn't happen, what's said, what doesn't happen. Can we start from the Chinese point of view? What are some of the aims and what would be a successful trip in your eyes?
Well, Europe to them is a very, very big partner. I don't think that they're coming here, as your correspondent just said, to make any divisions. I mean, they realise that the European market, technology in Europe, these are still important things for China. And it offers it a counterbalance to the United States, which has had a very tricky relationship with China recently, and therefore that it needs to have some kind of dialogue with Europe on positive things like climate change and combating global warming, things like that, but also on a better trading relationship, and possibly for Macron, kind of getting better access into Europe for services. The European Union did do a deal with China at the end of 2019 for services into China, a kind of investment deal, but that hasn't been ratified because of political issues. So there is a lot of scope for this relationship to develop. It's not all, I think, just about flattery and, kind of trying to create divisions in Europe. I don't think that's really what Xi Jinping is here for.
Interesting. OK, let's, from the other side, from Europe's side, what are the kind of conversations and messages that you think will be the priority?
I think Macron's recent tone is right. Reciprocity. It's got to be a balanced relationship. And I think that Europe has felt it has been a big technology transfer to China over the last 30 to 40 years. And in Germany, huge amounts of technology. And France has also been, a big partner, big trading partner. And there needs to be more balance. I think Europe, if it's going to be a key economic partner for China, in the future, has got to have a balanced relationship. But I think that's what Europeans want, European Union collectively, but also France. I mean, there's still great deficits in China's favour, apart from Germany. And so, I mean, addressing those imbalances, but also technology, where China is producing incredible amounts of AI and other technology useful to Europe. This is important to have deals where we get access, Europeans get access to that.
Professor Kerry Brown, thank you very much for lending us your analysis. Thank you.